Brilliance Audio presents The Last Boyfriend by Nora Roberts, performed by MacLeod Andrews. A fat winter moon poured light over the old stone and brick of the inn on the square. In its beams, the new porches and pickets glowed, and the bright penny copper of the roof glinted. The old and new merged there, the past and the now, in a strong and happy marriage. Its windows stayed dark on this December night, prizing its secrets in shadows. But in a matter of weeks, they would shine like others along Boonesboro's main street. As he sat in his truck at the light on the square, Owen Montgomery looked up Main at the shops and apartments draped in their holiday cheer. Lights winked and danced. To his right, a pretty tree graced the big front window of the second-floor apartment. Their future innkeeper's temporary residence reflected her style. Precise elegance. Next Christmas, he thought, they'd have Inn Boonesboro covered with white lights and greenery, and Hope Beaumont would center her pretty little tree in the window of the innkeeper's apartment on the third floor. He glanced to his left, where Avery McTavish, owner of Vesta Pizzeria and Family Restaurant, had the restaurant's front porch decked out in lights. Her apartment above, formerly his brother Beckett's, also showed a tree in the window. Otherwise, the windows were as dark as the inn's. She'd be working tonight, he thought, noting the movement in the restaurant. He shifted, but couldn't see her behind the work counter. When the light changed, he turned right onto St. Paul Street, then left into the parking lot behind the inn, then sat in his truck a moment, considering. He could walk over to Vesta, he thought, have a slice and a beer, hang out until closing. Afterward, he could do his walk-through of the inn. He didn't actually need to walk through, he reminded himself. But he hadn't been on site all day, as he'd been busy with other meetings, other details on other Montgomery family contractors' business. He didn't want to wait until morning to see what his brothers and the crew had accomplished that day. Besides, Vesta looked busy, and had barely 30 minutes till closing. Not that Avery would kick him out at closing. Probably. More than likely, she'd sit down and have a beer with him. Tempting, he thought. But he really should do that quick walk-through and get home. He needed to be on site with his tools by 7. He climbed out of the truck and into the frigid air, already pulling out his keys. Tall like his brothers, with a build leaning toward rangy, he hunched in his jacket as he walked around the stone courtyard wall toward the doors of the lobby. His keys were color-coded, something his brothers called anal and he deemed efficient. In seconds, he was out of the cold and into the building. He hit the lights, then just stood there, grinning like a moron. The decorative tile rug highlighted the span of the floor and added another note of charm to the softly painted walls with their custom, creamy wainscoting. Beckett had been right on target about leaving the sidewall exposed brick, and their mother had been dead on about the chandelier. Not fancy, not traditional, but somehow organic with its bronzy branches and narrow, flowing globes centered over that tile rug. He glanced right, noted the lobby restrooms with their fancy tiles and green-veined stone sinks had been painted. He pulled out his notebook, jotted down the need for a few touch-ups before he walked through the stone arch to the left. More exposed brick. Yeah, Beckett had a knack. The laundry room shelves showed ruthless organization. That would be Hope's hand. Her iron will had booted his brother Ryder out of his on-site office so she could start organizing. He paused at what would be Hope's office, saw his brother's mark there, the sawhorses and a sheet of plywood forming his rough desk, the fat white binder, the job Bible, some tools, cans of paint. Wouldn't be much longer, Owen calculated, before Hope kicked Ryder out again.